You work hard for your money. Is it working hard for you? Today we're reviewing the best savings accounts in Australia. Welcome to Get Started Investing, a show that helps you make the most of your money. My name is Bryce, and as always, I'm joined by my equity buddy, Ren. How are you going?
I'm very good, Bryce. Very excited for this episode. How could I not be excited when I'm talking about the most exciting part of the financial landscape, your savings account?
Yes. Easiest way to make money.
Yes. Look, it may not be the sexiest part of investing, but it is a simple thing. It's easy to get right, and it can make a difference. And we do these episodes every now and then. We check in on what the best savings accounts in Australia are. And one thing that surprises me every time is how much heat these episodes generate.
Yes.
They get a lot of interest, but God, the comment section gets hot if we don't mention people's chosen bank accounts. So I'm going to say from the outset, don't blame us. Blame your bank if they're not at the top of this list, but we will be unpacking both the best savings accounts with hoops, like, certain number of transactions, certain number of deposits, whatever it is. And then we'll be also looking at the best savings accounts without hoops. No gimmicks, just straight savings rate.
Yes. Now, before we jump in, we want to say a massive thank you to our long-term partners here at Get Started Investing, BetaShares Direct. If you are looking to invest your way, then BetaShares Direct makes it easy.
There's zero brokerage on over 300 ASX shares and all ASX ETFs, and you can choose from more than 10 ready-made portfolios or build your own from scratch.
Automated investing means that you can set, forget, and grow. And with simple tax and performance reporting, staying on top of your money has never been easier.
It's a platform unlike any other in Australia. To find out for yourself, search BetaShares Direct and set up your account in minutes.
BetaShares Capital Limited is the issuer. Consider the PDS and TMD at betashares.com.au to see if the product is right for you. Investing involves risk.
All right, Bryce, well, let's get into it. Top savings accounts in Australia, July 2025. We're into a new financial year, and let's check in. I think the important context here as we start, as I said in the intro, it's the easiest thing to do to get this right, to set up your savings account in a bank that is paying a good savings rate. But it's also important to check in on this every now and then because it does change.
It does. Since last recording this, we've had 2 interest rate cuts.
Yeah, so we last did it in January.
In January, yeah. So we've had 2 rate cuts. And of course, where rates go, your interest rate in your bank account often follows as well. So with rate cuts, we're checking in because these accounts do move around more than you think.
Yeah, so when we did it in January, there was 2 savings accounts that were at top of the pops that were paying the best rate. One of them is still equal first, so good on them. We'll get to them later. But the other one has fallen out of the top.
Yeah.
They're equal second, so they're not doing too badly. But it just is a reminder that these things do move around a bit. One thing we will not be looking at is honeymoon rates.
Yes, this is where the people in the comments will come in.
Well, yeah, and look, disagree with me all you want, but I have a real problem with honeymoon rates. I think they are a honey trap. Yes. And what I mean by that is that if you look at the ranking tables of the top honeymoon rates in Australia, the honeymoon rates extend from 2 months to 6 months. You don't really get anything beyond that. And there are some banks, like Macquarie, for example, that have a good honeymoon rate, but then a good base rate. But that's the exception. That's not the rule. The majority of banks that offer a good honeymoon rate then often drop you to a very low base rate. And a dishonourable mention here for Australian Unity Easy Saver, 4.25% for the first 4 months.
Which isn't even that great.
Well, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Then it drops to 0.01%.
Awful.
And so I think for a lot of people, they jump on the honeymoon rate, then they forget to move, and then all of a sudden they're stuck with a lower rate. So for me, honeymoon rates aren't it, and we're not going to be talking about them. If you disagree with me, you know where the comment section is.
Let's get stuck into the top 5 savings accounts with hoops or gimmicks, and we've got 4 who are equal first in Australia. So the first is the Move Growth Saver. All of these accounts are on 5%. So these are 5%, which is base plus your bonus. The first is Move Growth Saver. You need to deposit $200 a month and have no withdrawals. The second is ING Savings Maximizer. You need to deposit $1,000 a month and have 5 card transactions. The third is P&N Savvy Saver. you need to deposit $500 per month with 5 card transactions, and then BCU Boss Saver, deposit $500 and also have 5 card transactions. So all reasonably similar for 5%.
Yeah, and if you are going to go with one of these accounts, make sure you do hit the conditions and make sure you're set up to hopefully automatically hit the conditions, because if you don't hit the conditions and get that 5% bonus rate, all of those accounts have a less than 1% base rate.
Yeah, very much so. And I guess just to put this into context of how I use it, Ren, I have the ING Savings Maximizer, and you can just, for example, get your pay deposited in and then transfer it into accounts from there. But as long as you've got the minimum hitting the account, you don't have to keep it in there.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
I also have ING Savings Maximizer. Okay, so there's 4 equal winners.
Yep.
Now, we've got some honourable mentions from here. We won't go into as much detail, but just to cover it off. Equal second that pay 4.85%, the Ubank Save account, and ME Bank Home Me Save plus Spend Me transaction account. Say that 5 times quickly. After that, coming in at third place at 4.8% is the Rabobank Premium Saver account. And then we've got 4 paying 4.75% to close it out. We've got the BOQ Smart Saver, 36 plus years old. That's something that Bank of Queensland do that not any other banks do as much. They have all these different age brackets.
Been around for ages.
Well, I'm not saying it's new. I'm just saying it's unusual. You're almost in that 36-year-old plus. But yeah, BOQ Smart Saver 36 plus, Virgin Money Boost Saver plus Lock Saver, Great Southern Bank Home Saver, and RACQ Bank Bonus Saver.
Nice. So the takeaway here is there's at least 10 banks, or a little bit more, over 4.75. So if your bank doesn't have a 4.75 in front of it, you should be changing.
You should at least be aware that there's better rates out there.
Yeah. Now we're going to look at the 5 no-gimmick savings accounts. These are accounts that just offer you the rate and don't expect anything more from you.
Yeah, no honeymoon, no hoops to jump through. This is just a rate that they will give you until interest rates change, I guess. Until they change their rates. But should we go bottom to top?
Sure.
All right. Well, coming in at number 5, we have the Unity Bank Money Max account paying 4.05%.
Love it. Number 4 is the Move Online Saver at 4.15%.
Number 3 is the BOQ Simple Saver account, 4.3%.
Macquarie Savings Account comes in at number 2 at 4.5%. And then number 1, Ren?
Australian Unity Freedom Saver, 4.85%. So that's pretty good. 4.85%, no hoops, no gimmicks. Love to see that.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to Macquarie because people are probably already in the comment section about Macquarie. Macquarie does have a honeymoon rate and it's 4.85%, but we're not talking about that because of our previously discussed view on honeymoon rates. But their base rate is 4.5% ongoing after their 4-month honeymoon period.
And that's even for transaction accounts.
Yes.
Yeah. Great.
So there's some of the banks and some of the savings accounts that we're celebrating today. But as we were doing the research, we came across some accounts that we don't want to celebrate, some dishonourable mentions. And there was one that I mentioned earlier, the Australian Unity Easy Saver account, which offers 4.25% for the first 4 months and then drops to 0.01%.
Which is weird because they also have the best no-gimmick savings account in Australia.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like a lot of them have multiple accounts. Yeah. But 0.01%, that's like COVID era savings account.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not making anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one dishonourable mention. You got any you want to call out?
AMP Cash Manager, they have a 4.5% bonus rate, but it is 0% if you've got less than 10K. That 4.5% only kicks in once you get to that 10K threshold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not something that you would want to be doing to save up to your holiday. Any others, Ren?
There's 3 accounts that I'm going to call out here. So we've got the RACQ Bank Bonus Saver, Easy Street Bonus Saver account, and People's Choice Dream Fund. It might be a dream fund, but it's not a dream account if you don't hit the bonus rate. So if you do hit the bonus rate, you're getting like 4.6% or 4.7%, which is great. But if you don't hit the conditions on these 3 accounts, 0.01%. More of a nightmare than a dream.
I mean, I would have to put ING Savings into that. There's a 0.05 if you don't hit it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, got to hit those conditions.
All right. Well, I think that's really all we need to cover. Let's close out with some actionable insights. And I think what you just said there is probably the first one. If you're going to opt for a savings account that has conditions, don't leave it up to chance. Don't leave it up to your spending habits. Build it into the way you manage your money and automate it to make sure you'll hit the conditions. So the easiest way is get your paid into the corresponding transaction account, and then use that card for your everyday spending.
That's the key, because like the ING Savings Maximizer doesn't have a card, but you have to have 5 card transactions. So you have to be careful. Not only do you need the savings account.
I don't think you can get the savings account without the transaction account.
That's what I'm saying. You need to have both. You can't just think you're going to roll in with one.
Yeah. So that's number one. Don't leave it to chance. Set up the processes and automate the processes to make sure those hoops are being jumped through. What else, Bryce?
I think it's worth mentioning the big 4 because they didn't appear in any of the lists that we just went through. And that's not a surprise. They're generally not the best.
They're generally not bad
but they're not the worst. Yeah. So CBA Goal Saver is 4.45%. Westpac Lifesaver is 4.5%. ANZ Flex Saver and the ANZ Save Account is 4.5%. And the NAB Reward Saver is 4.35%.
Yeah.
So not crazy right up there, but competitive for the big 4.
Yeah. All right, Bryce. And then to close it out, the final actionable insight is just if you're not optimizing your savings accounts, you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
There's no easier thing to do. Well, I mean, index investing in dollar cost averaging into index ETFs is pretty easy these days, but just spend the 2 minutes to open a savings account and set up your finances to get the extra 1%, 2%, whatever it is. It might not feel like a lot, but it is. It's basically free.
It adds up, particularly if you're saving for a house or you've got your emergency fund. Like I think about this for my emergency fund. If you're not sitting it in an offset account or something, like the best it can do is what I have from a savings account. I'm not going to invest that money elsewhere. So I want to make sure that account is the best that it can absolutely be. So really there's no real reason not to pay attention to something like this. It's just, it's the bread and butter of getting your finances sorted.
Yeah, a massive shout out to the resource that we use to do these episodes. It's called the Accounts Leaderboard. It really started on Reddit, I think, but it's like a Australian finance community resource that has all of the savings accounts in Australia, their base rates, their honeymoon rates, their bonus rates. So we'll include a link in the YouTube description in the show notes if you want to check it out for yourself. It's a great resource. And thanks to the anonymous people that keep it updated for us all.
That brings us to the end of Get Started Investing. We'd love for you to come and join the conversation in our Facebook discussion group. And if you take a lot out of these episodes, we would appreciate if you could share it with a family member or a friend, or like the video and leave us a comment below. If you're watching us on YouTube, it does really help us go a long way to getting in front of new Get Started Investing community members. But Ren, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week.
Sounds good.